when they are consuming your minds and your thoughts and your dreams, from the angels to the demons and to the mysteries unseen, there is no need to worry. There is no need for dread. It's just time to discuss the thing at the foot of the bed.
Good evening, and if you're listening live, you are listening to United Public Radio Network, also known as UFO Paranormal Radio Network, and we are streaming to you from actually two different countries, but where we're streaming from is 105.3 and 107.7 out of New Orleans, Louisiana. We got all kinds of people here. We're going to call you just a sec, guys. Thanks for being here. And if you've never been to the show, welcome. We are live here. We co-host this show. It is called The Thing at the Foot of the Bed. And I am one of your co-hosts. I'm going to introduce my amazing other co-host here in a second. I'm Lorilei Potvin. I'm a host here on the network of my own show, The Angel Rock, on Monday nights, 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I'm a Canadian clairvoyant medium, crystal Reiki energy healer, Akashic Records practitioner, spiritual teacher and mentor, and registered nurse. Now, I'm going to get some housekeeping things out of the way first, really quick. If you guys like what you see here, please share, like, and subscribe. Tell all your friends and family about the network because we have all kinds of new hosts. We've got new shows coming. There's something for everybody here. We also have syndicated shows from different types of podcasts. And when we're not live, the archive server is always running. So you're going to hear shows. I believe this network's almost 25 years old. So we got some really interesting, amazing shows. Like I said, there's something for everyone. We are streaming to you tonight on the network Roku channel, Dave and I, with The Thing at the Foot of the Bed. How you can find that is you're going to log into your Roku account. You're going to go to the channel store and search UFO space P as in paranormal. List is going to come up, I believe, with the third or fourth down, and you're looking for UFO space paranormal. And then I think it says and United Public Radio. Also, if you are on Facebook and you've never been here before, and some people have already done this, I don't know what StreamYard's doing with Facebook, but if you don't go there and go to StreamYard.com/Facebook, all you got to do is click yes or allow so that they can use your name and your picture so we know who you are. Otherwise, you just come up as Facebook user. I think I remembered everything. So on to my amazing co-host here, David Hanzel.
Hey, everybody. Hi, Zachman. Hi, Susan. Hi, Nicole. Hi, Sandra. Hi.
You're taking it away from me. I wanted to say hi, too.
You gotta say it, too. That's just hello from
Hi,
me.
Robin and Halfern Paranormal, Sandra. I was just joking. David can do it. It's just
I know. So I'm David Hanzel. I am a spiritual medium, and I Reiki and all kinds of
Angel
stuff.
Channel and all kinds of awesome stuff.
And I do parties. And actually, just to bring it up, I was just asked to do a party here in July. So I probably will.
Ooh, I like it.
Anybody who's watching this, for someone like me, when I do parties, it's fun. It's usually, this one I think is only going to be about 10 to 15 people, maybe. It's a private party.
It's a nice size.
Yeah, and basically I do platform readings a lot. I used to do them before COVID. I'm going to go back to doing those.
Can't say the C word, hon.
And a platform reading is basically where there's an audience. It's like what you see on TV if you see a medium standing in front of a big audience and they just start talking to all kinds of people. That's what I do. I love doing that. It's a little nerve-wracking, but it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. So let's see. Let me see new comments.
You're on TikTok. You do a podcast. I was just going to remind you we can't say the C word because we're on YouTube.
What's the C word I said?
The last 3 years.
Oh, yeah. And that it threw me off all of a sudden. So
I'm sorry.
Okay, so Lorilei,
David and I are off because we've had such exciting things going on and running around all day.
We both had crazy days today, so we decided the topic was going to be whatever in the heck we think about. And whatever you guys want to toss out there, we know it. We will
Yeah, but
talk.
we have an idea. We have an
We have
idea.
an idea. Yeah. What was our one idea about?
Okay, we got lots. So
Yeah, we did actually. Yeah.
we've actually while I was at Walmart grabbing groceries and David just got home, like I'm serious, we really were running around all day. Busy day. That's why it's so cool to sit down and enjoy this time with all of you. So thank you for being here. If you like what you're seeing, share it. Being more the merrier, as you guys know. I forgot to mention, if you are listening, but you're going, how do I become part of this chat? I want to join in the conversation. Head over to UFO Paranormal Radio, whether it's on the Facebook page, YouTube channel. Dave and I are also streaming to our YouTube channels. Mine is The Angel Rock with Lorilei Potvin. I shall let you introduce yours.
And if you're watching from the Spirit Experience on YouTube, same thing, or from my group, the Spirit Experience. Actually, I'm on 2 Spirit Experiences tonight. So we thought about a lot of topics, and people talked about the black-eyed kids, which actually, just for a second, because I don't have any expertise. I have to admit.
I do. But I said, David, I know from connecting with Spirit that you are going to have no problem with this. You won't.
Spirit boxes. Okay, that's next. Let's talk
Okay.
about that. But
Who's our Facebook user here? We don't know who they are. So would you want to tell them how to find us, Dave, or do you want me to?
Facebook user, if you're watching this right now, if you see right below where you're watching, if you click on that, it says StreamYard/Facebook. Yeah, see right there what we got on the bottom screen. It'll as soon as you click on that, it'll just say yes or no. You put yes, and then we can see who you are. Otherwise, you can type in who you are. It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, that's too okay too. Yeah, otherwise we have no idea. But hi, Facebook user, welcome. Sandra Sharp is saying strange weather. There is so
weather, spirit boxes. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna forego what I was just gonna say.
okay. Well, I want to add one thing though, just to kind of put it on the back burner. You guys think about this because Dave and I agreed. You guys tell us what you want to talk about because this is usually what we do. We just start with a topic and we go wherever you guys want to go. But we were talking about all this UFO alien stuff that's come out. We talked a little bit about it on Monday night on the Angel Rock. We talked about, we're not going to debunk anything, but talking about why do people want to be scared? Like, why do they like horror movies and paranormal? Why do people fake things? It was so many. We did have a ton of topics, Dave. Sorry, go ahead.
Actually, we do have a ton of topics. We were talking, we talked a little bit about the black-eyed children, and I said that I didn't know much about them, but I did think about one thing from the lore of it, that you have to invite them in and so on and so forth, and they have black eyes. I wonder if they would be related to almost vampire-ish, because a vampire you have to put in, and vampires have.
But they ask to come in, and they will tell you, we can't come in unless you ask us. And they get more and more insistent and angry. And it's almost like they have a magnetic, energetic control. Like many people report that they're terrified out of their wits. Doesn't even matter if it's been police officers, it's been people that are correctional officers. It's been, Sandra or Susan says, I saw a crackhead with black eyes. He was possessed. That's a different kind of black eyes.
It was possessed by.
That's a different type of black eyes. But so they always insist. They seem to be, when nobody's around, people report this awful terror when they're around them. They don't even know why. But where I meant with the mind control, if you will, they'll find as the kids are insisting that you open the door and let them in, that their hands moving towards the door. It's like, what am I doing? And then they'll always say, like, it's always like late at night, a lot of times, not always, but sometimes, and they'll say, we need to use the phone. We need our parents to pick us up. And like, it's like 1 o'clock in the morning. Like there's no way kids of that age should be out. Right. But some people have also reported, it looks like the men in black showing up to pick them up afterwards. Now, it's crazy. I don't know what they are.
Are most of the sightings of these children, are they like in rural areas or in wooded areas?
Nope. They just seem to show up out of nowhere, but it's usually when people are alone, but not even always. Sometimes it can be a family home, and they just seem to appear. And what's odd about them, they seem to report that they're between the ages of 6 and about 16, but they wear very drab, baggy clothing, nothing current. The other thing is the haircuts are really odd compared to what kids that age would be wearing. A lot of people have reported at first thinking they're maybe Amish children, but then when they look up, right, and they see these black eyes, but even before the children look up, people report this horrific sense of dread, terror, and fear. And the kids will knock on the door and say, "Hi, can we come in? We're hungry. We'd like a snack." Or can you give us a ride? Our parents aren't able to show up, but can you let us in, please? Can you let us in? They don't even use please. And then they get more and more insistent and angry as the people say no. But where I always got hung up is, why do they need to be invited in? Why do the men in black, if they do show up and there's reports, because I want to know what happens if you let them in. And a few people have, and they have gotten deathly ill, run into accidents, or some people have developed like terminal illnesses. It is crazy, this phenomena. And I don't know what causes it. That's why I asked.
They may be asking because actually they're intelligent beings. Because you know how I was saying, there might be something to it. You know how I was saying,
Oh.
I'm like the downer person, but I always say like with curses and all that, I say none of that can exist unless you acknowledge it. Unless you say, okay, so I wonder if that might have something to do with why they ask you if they can come in, because then you're acknowledging and you're giving permission for whenever they're about
They
to
don't ask, though. They demand. Like, they never say, like, they never say, could you please let us in? It's like, can we come in? We can't come in unless you ask us. And then the more and more insistent, let us in. Let us in. Before, I'm going to stop right here because Shannon K. Casey, our resident nurse here, I know we got lots of nurses listening and what have you, but Shannon is back at work, and I want to read this comment if it's okay, Dave.
Yeah.
Okay, so she works with some people that are wise and just I'll say have lived a few more years than us. I don't like calling people elderly or something, right? I think age is just a number. So she says, my group is unbelievably happy to see you both. Oh, and they have named themselves the Paranormal Poopers. I didn't pick the name. Hi, Paranormal Poopers. We're so glad to have you here.
Hello, PP.
PPs, the PPs.
Yeah, PPs.
We think it's so cool that you are so interested and want to tune in. If you've got some questions, please, dog, stay down. If you've got some questions or comments, please have Shannon type them in. Like I say, we've got lots of comment. Hi, Roger Garza. I want to give them a shout out too. They have Latino Psychic Visions and This Mug's for You. Latino Psychic is Wednesdays. Saturday mornings is This Mug's for You. It's Faye and Roger, new to the network, amazing shows. They're here. Sorry, I wanted to give them a quick shout out.
I'll put Zachman's comment up because see, this is what I was just saying.
Okay, hang on.
Zachman, and Zachman wrote, when I was saying about giving permission, he wrote, there may be a universal concept of consent that goes hand in hand with free will. If they aren't given permission to enter, it may violate a universal rule. That's a good point. I don't know, but it must.
But who are they?
That I don't know. I would have to look up into it. You know what? I'm going to invite that energy in one of these nights, not to my house, but just invite that energy in.
Be careful, Dave. Be careful. And I'm not coming from a fear state because we don't know what we're dealing with, and with people reporting the getting ill, and these people aren't ruminating about it afterwards, like, oh my God, I hope I don't have an accident. Oh my God, I hope I don't get sick. They're not even thinking about it. And it happens. So that's what concerns me. Like, are they alien and human hybrids? Like, or it almost seems like radiation illness, some of these things that develop afterwards. Or there's quite a story I was talking about this woman. She was a nurse, actually. And as she reports it, she was on her way home from her shift. She picked up her 7-year-old son, I guess, at the Sitters. Her hubby was already home. And she stopped at the convenience gas station to pick up some milk and whatever. She didn't take her son in. She parked he was in sight of the till. Okay, she was gone 3 or 4 minutes. She comes back out to the car, and there's 2 kids in her back seat, her own son and this strange child, the same age. And she got this really strange, weird feeling. And this kid, like she said, that back seat was big enough to probably put 5 little kids in the back. This kid, this stranger, is practically on top of her son. And she goes, honey, who is this? Like, why is he here? Do you know him from school? And he goes, no. And she says, well, why is he in our car? Well, he asked if he could have a ride, and I told him yes, and I wanted him to come and play with us. And his mother is feeling this fear and terror. She doesn't know why. The kid looks up at her. She sees the black eyes. She said she literally yanked the kid by his arm, his own kid, her own kid, threw him into the store. And she told the clerk, and the clerk goes, do you want me to call the police? And she said, I'm not sure. Like, I feel silly, like feeling this way with a child. And he came out with her. The kid was gone, the strange kid. Okay. So she called her husband and she said, listen, don't ask questions. They only lived about 10 minutes away. She said, could you come meet me at this gas convenience store and switch vehicles with me? I'm not comfortable driving. And as the reporter, like, I did follow this story up and really look into it. And I guess the husband knew from the tone of her voice, okay, I'm not going to ask questions. I'm just going to show up. So she explained what happened when he got there. And of course, he doesn't believe her, but he went and switched vehicles. He should have been home in 2 minutes following her home. But I guess his side of the story is he got into the vehicle and it smelled like sulfur and rotting meat. And he could not figure out where the smell was coming from. He's looking everywhere, all over the place, right? Anyways, the mom and the son get home. And it's been about a half hour. And she's thinking, where the heck is he? He should have been home. She gets a call from the police. Her husband was in a car accident and is in the emergency. And when she speaks to him, he wasn't seriously hurt, thank God. He doesn't even remember what happened with the accident. But her son, the little guy, the 7-year-old, starts getting very ill. At first, they thought it was just a cold, the doctor, developing into a bit of the flu. But then it kept progressing and progressing. He ended up with a strange type of rash. They didn't know if it was measles. This kid was so sick for about a year afterwards. And this is not an unusual report encountering these beings.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Heard of them before. It's interesting. I'll have to look it up. I've never heard of them.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like bunny men when I was talking about bunny
I
men.
don't know. So I told you, I don't know. Like, maybe when you describe them, I'll know who they are or what
we
they
were
are.
talking about lore. So you guys, we were talking earlier about lores and little stories that go out that intrigue people. They've been passed down throughout the ages and so on and so forth. A lot of them are scary stories you tell around the campfire, but I always say there's a little truth to every story. There really is. Otherwise, nobody would be able to come up with that story. The truth might be very small, but there is something. Now, I don't know if you guys know about the Bunny Man. And Bunny Man was apparently, they call him that because there was a busload of, this is in the early 1900s. Okay. So I don't know what bus or whatever, but they had vehicles, obviously. So whenever 19 something, they were, a bunch of these guys that were in a home escaped from the home, a lot of them. And
what kind of home?
For like the criminally insane, stuff like that. I mean, I didn't want to put it like that because that's just starts a scary story. It was a home for people who had disabilities of some
needed extra care for whatever reason.
Yeah. So, and we're not saying those people are all bad, but these particular ones, because they did keep bad people there instead of putting them in jail, that's where they went.
Yeah.
But they were on this bus and they chased them. They did get the bus to pull over and stop, but a lot of them ran out. They caught almost all of them except for one kid. And it went on forever. They could not find him. Then they started finding bunny carcasses hanging from trees everywhere.
I have not heard this.
Yeah, they started finding bunny carcasses hanging from trees. And then people started disappearing later on. And then they had reports of seeing a guy who was wearing it's like he made like a bunny mask, but out of like twigs and trees and carcasses in the woods and all that, and would run around the forest wearing it. Now, is that 100% true? Probably not. I would say a good 80% of it isn't true, but there are people who have done stuff. I come from Wisconsin. I mean, we had Ed Gein and all that.
I know who it is. He's still alive, and they use him in a lot of criminal profiles. Have you guys ever watched? I cannot remember the name of it. 3 seasons of it. There is a nurse out there. I can see her. This woman is 84 years old and is still working with serial killers and into the psyche of it all. And her character was fashioned after this. And they have a character that looked just like Ed Gein that they pulled into the storyline of this. God, why can I not remember this? Give me a second, I'll remember. And Ed Gein, yeah, like he was a scary guy, the size of him.
Yeah, so a lot of these things like Ed Gein, that's where the movies Chainsaw Massacre, those are based on, not completely based, but very loosely based on Ed Gein. And Ed Gein, they found in Wisconsin, I mean, they found furniture in his house made out of people and all this other things. So that's where that movie came from. So a lot of these stories that we hear may not be entirely true, but there's something about them. And they're all fear-based though. But I guess if they weren't fear-based, then we wouldn't have to tell the story to warn people. So I totally understand why they are fear-based in some way. Michelle Pratt says his version of Playboy Bunny. No, because I don't think he had. This was the early 1900s or something. He had no concept of that. I don't know what vehicles they actually drove. I don't know if it was the bus. I just say bus. I don't know whatever they transport people in, but they found the bunny carcasses. I think he may have just had a fascination with it, which is just to hurt animals in the woods and hang them on the trees is bad enough, let alone the other things.
Okay, so I found the name of the series before you read Robin's thing. It's called Mind Hunter. And I'm trying to find, hang on, I just looked it up. It's Dr. Ann Burgess. She's 84 years old. I believe she has at least a master's or doctorate in nursing. She is the most incredible lady. I know if you ever want to see her, she actually, because believe it or not, if you're familiar with the serial killer BTK, his daughter Carrie actually speaks on behalf of families who had no idea something was going on, like with her loved one, her father. And she's on a panel on Surviving the Survivor a lot on YouTube. It's a really good crime show. And they talk about this. They get into the psyche of this as well as sometimes the energetics. The whole bit is really interesting. Anyways, this Dr. Ann Burgess, anybody that's well into their 80s and is working more hours and more active than somebody even a quarter their age, they've got my respect. It's a really good series. I'm into the second season. I think it only went 3 seasons on Netflix. Really good show. Hi, Debbie Schmoley. Anyways, you want to read? You were going to do that, right? Read Robin's comment.
Robin is commenting and saying, I would love to know if the black-eyed children turn up at your door or in your car, etc. Does that mean that you are the chosen for whatever
that's cool
may cause? That could, I mean, if saying that there's some truth to this, that could be true, because we have there's stories about the angel of death, or there's stories about certain beings showing up. And when you see that being, that means it's an omen that you're going to be hurt or pass away or something like that. I mean, people have all kinds of omens throughout the day. So that's a good point. I'm not sure, but who knows?
I think it's a really good point too, because that's been always my thing. That's why I like to talk about it. I told Dave, because I'm not really familiar. I said, Dave, you'll have no problem talking about this. I know you won't, because I said, nobody knows where do these kids come from? Why do they seem to have different powers? Why do they look human until they look up? Why do they evoke fear? Like before you even see their eyes, like you just feel it. Even somebody that wouldn't be, say, energetically sensitive, never mind the fact that they disappear just as quickly as they showed up lots of times. On top of it, I've had people report looking into it that there indeed shows up a long, black SUV or whatever, windows blacked out, and men almost looking identical with the black hat, black suit, white shirt, black tie. Kids get in the vehicle and away they go. So what are they? And these people, all of them seem to report very similar details. Like they don't know why they're afraid. Like I remember one guy's story I was looking at. He worked in one of the worst federal prisons in the US with the worst of criminals. And so he really wasn't afraid of anything. And this is a big guy. And he was giving himself heck in his head as he's talking to these kids before he sees their eyes. He goes, what the heck is the matter with me? This is just two little kids. And then they looked at him and he slammed the door and he was terrified. He went to grab his guns. By the time he grabbed his guns and went out, gone.
I was thinking this though. If we want to find out about stuff like that, if I was a FBI agent or something, and I was investigating the black-eyed children, and I could not find anything about the black-eyed children, what I would do is I would go back through the target. So whoever the target was for the black-eyed children, I would go back through their lives, because you might get something in common with other people as why they were chosen.
I think they've looked at that, Dave. They have looked at this. This phenomena, and I think it was Michelle, because she was there the night I did a show on my own. It was about a month ago, and we started talking about this. I think it showed this phenomena seems to have shown up. I think it was either the end of the 80s, early 90s. Before this, there was never really any reports of this. And I remember Michelle also wrote down the name of the guy he was the first one to talk about this and experience it. And then now all of a sudden, and it's not all the time, like it's not a common thing that they go town to town to town to town to town. It is people, and it doesn't seem to be any rhyme or reason, but I agree that it would be a good starting point to see if there was something you could connect between all these individuals.
What if you found out everyone had something going on in their family that would cause that, or every one of them had a trait going on in them that would cause them to visit? I was just wondering, because it's almost like even if you look at even like Bigfoot sightings, I know a lot of people get frustrated. Why can't we just see Bigfoot? I love when they interview the people that have saw Bigfoot, because of the fact that their stories are so interesting, and Lorilei can, and I can too. Probably most of you can. I can see something on TV, and in 98% of the time, I can tell if they're truthful. It's just comes with the territory. And I found that most Bigfoot sightings, or people who do that, they are literally, I mean, I've watched some of them. It's like they saw that. They saw that, and people will tell them they're crazy and everything else. And I feel very bad for them.
I'm not sure what Robin means. He says, and it's always little girls, never little boys. Are you talking about black-eyed kids?
The black-eyed kids always. I was going to ask earlier too.
That's not real. Robin, you sent me some fantastic pictures when we were talking about this, but you were sending me stuff that was more paranormal. That's what I wasn't referring to as black-eyed kids. It is an actual phenomena. These kids are physically there. I was thinking it was only when one individual is home, but no, with my research, there have been husband and wives. There have been couples that have encountered this with the knock at their door. These are physical children. They are not a spirit. And if they're a spirit, they can manifest to a full corporeal body, and they're breathing flesh and blood. And don't get me wrong, sometimes people can show up even in spirit that look very real. And I've seen and heard of examples of that too. But no, these are real children, like real kids. And Michelle, thanks, Michelle. Ask Google. She knows all about them, but she did share it. It was in the mid-1990s with Dave Schrader. So if you look him up, you will find out that he was one of the first to have reported this, and he's written a book about this phenomena, and it's always fascinated me.
They've used them in they actually have been around for quite a bit. If you go back. But
there's thousands of stories.
Yeah, there are. The black-eyed children.
There's white-eyed kids too, but that's pretty rare. And there seems to be some similarities between this phenomena, except the kids have white eyes. I don't know what I prefer, black or white. I prefer none of them.
They say here, well, I'm part of the blue-eyed kids.
Yeah, I'm part of the brown-eyed.
We come up at your door and we're just like, can you take us to the beach? And
take us to Disneyland.
I need a tan.
Disneyland.
Now we're making fun of them. All right. Okay. So there's a good question
Ooh.
that I would love to talk about because I don't have, I am not by all means an expert on it, but it's spirit boxes.
Okay, before we move on though, read Robin's comment. I think that's pretty cool. I'd like to try that.
Is that if you have the AI app, ask it about black-eyed children. I'm sure it's every AI app so far I've asked a question to. Some of them are programmed for, it all depends on what AI you ask. I would love to ask like a Disney AI and ask about black-eyed children, and then ask like one of the other AIs about black-eyed children. I don't, I would, I'm going to
I don't
ask.
agree with that one.
I'm going to ask about black-eyed children. I'm not worried about any of the energies because I really do believe I'm well protected, and I would do protections before I did it anyway. But
Yeah, but if they're not spiritual and they're physical, Dave, I'm just concerned about if there's radioactive energy or something. That's the only reason I'm saying
well,
that.
I'm inviting him to my house. I just want to connect to the energy to see if there's information about
Yeah,
that.
what if that they say, hey, he wants to connect. Why not show up in the flesh? I'm sorry, but we don't know why they show up either.
In my neighborhood, if a black-eyed child showed up at my door, I would just think it was one of my neighbors.
Okay, I want to comment on this quickly. My eyes are hazel, but found out they are meant to be blue. They're only blue and brown eyes. Yes, there used to be, but there is a genetic anomaly. And I know Joe Montaldo, who owns the network. Thank you, Joe, for the space he provides here for all of us. He has great shows on the network Wednesday night, Friday night, and I think he does a couple other things. He's been on Ancient Aliens, all kinds of things. He has been doing a study on red hair, green eyes, and Rh negative blood that never existed in our genome before 70,000 years ago. And I agree with you. There only used to be brown eyes. But there are people that have variations. Hazel is an unusual color. My son's eyes, people used to ask me, my eldest, why he was the spitting image of his father. But he had eyes the color of blue that look like the sky. And I have brown eyes, and his father has brown eyes. They are now hazily green. There is green eyes, and even rarer, there is gray. There is also lavender. I have seen lavender.
In my family, what we know of in my family, only me and my father have blue eyes. Everybody else has brown eyes, green eyes, or hazel eyes. Yeah, I guess only 20% of the world is blue-eyed or something. We're deformed or something. I don't know. I asked chat on that. Oh, go ahead, Lorilei.
You go ahead. Go ahead. I was looking at the comment before. Go ahead.
I asked chat on that question and had to remind me that it's an A1 system and doesn't
AI.
have AI system and doesn't have spiritual beliefs. Very, very, yeah, not yet. You know what? I am scared for the day that they really program spiritual beliefs into AI, because even today I was going through TikTok, and I normally don't watch a lot of stuff on TikTok, and this psychic woman came on and she was making predictions about the next president and all this stuff. And before she makes the prediction, of course, she preferenced that she's really not with any.
Well, let's stay away from the political stuff.
Yeah, we're not going to go there. I'm just saying we're not going to talk about that. But what I'm talking about, she was making a prediction and she said, "Oh, this is just what I see." I would love
but she let you know she was biased. Is that where you're going with this?
Yeah, she was letting us know that she was biased, but that wasn't true. Because as she spent so much time defending what she was about to say. I'm like, listen, with predictions, you guys, nobody is 100% accurate.
I agree.
Nobody is. I think like as far as psychics, if you take that psychic test thing, I think you have to be at least 85% accurate or something like that. Nobody's accurate about anything because of free will, and there's so many different
and timelines. Yeah, timelines.
What I was laughing about, that woman who said who it was going to be, right away, the people who want that to happen, that's the timeline they just slid into. Mm-hmm. So they may very well end up being there, where everybody else who was against it probably won't slide into that timeline. But it is stuff like that. When people make predictions and you believe that prediction 100%, it's possible for that prediction to come true for you because you'll just slide over to that timeline.
I agree. I think Brandy's got a really good comment here, and I'm going to read Sandra. She says, I wonder if an iridologist could explain anything about this, meaning the black-eyed kids. I'm guessing you're referring to Brandy, because if you are, I think that's pretty cool, because the only thing I have seen with totally black eyes, and I've never understood it, is people that do such horrific I guess mutations to their body. Like I've seen one guy wanting to turn into a lizard. So his whole body is completely covered in tattooed lizard scales. He has had his hair, I think, removed from the head. It's all tattooed, and he's had all these bumps looking like dinosaur bumps. His tongue is slit. He's had amputations to have like 3 fingers, and he's had his eyeballs tattooed. His eyeballs, his whole cornea, everything all black.
Huh.
Ouch.
I was trying to see what kind of things would cause. We had a guy where I used to work. I love saying that. Used to work. Where I used to work, he was a customer that came in and his eyes were black. Well, not like jet black, but they were black. They were dark.
Like the white part of his eyes too?
No, not the white part. That's what makes him different from the black-eyed
That's
children.
what I meant by the cornea. Like this guy's eyes are completely black. He's had them tattooed. I can't even imagine getting a tattoo like needle in your eyeball. Ugh.
No.
So Sandra, I'm going to just say to you, said I need to talk to Joe. I know that's who you're referring to, about the red hair, green eyes, and O negative thing. Please message me after the show, and I will give you a link to the website. If you can't find anything, let me know, and I'll connect you with him. He's super hard to get a hold of. He's so busy. He has a muggle job, never mind everything else he does with the network and shows. But yeah, at least if we can't get a hold of him, I can try and ask him where, or if he's still doing the study. I think he is. You want to read Brandy's comment?
It feels an ailment, that particular part. Oh, no, go ahead.
Okay, iridology reads the fleck of your eyes to see what ailments you have in your body. Yes, I've heard of that science. When there is a black or darkened fleck in a certain part of your eye, it reveals an ailment in that particular part. Okay, so this is food for thought. So you have that black fleck in your eye. I would think, now I could be wrong because I have not dug into iridology, but from my medical background, that I would think that it would almost be a marker for a predisposition to that ailment unless you already had it. But if you don't have it and you're not having any symptoms of it, I'm guessing it could be a marker or a predictor that you're very apt or prone to that ailment, and you could possibly develop it in the future if you're not having the symptoms already. That's what my thoughts would be with something like that. And I would think an iridologist would look into the iris, the colored part of the eye, and have markings and maps, I guess, of, like you said, with a certain fleck. Because to me, if you're not having any symptoms, but it says you're at risk, say a certain fleck for a rare genetic thing, or even heart disease or cancer or something, right? And you're not having any symptoms and you're completely clear, to me, it would show that it could be a high potentiality for a predisposition to something, developing it in the future.
Lorilei, you know what I just thought of?
What's that?
Do you remember that picture that I showed you from, you guys, I don't know if you watch him. I want to give this guy a plug because I love his channel. It's called Sasquatch Ontario. And he's a really cool dude, and he's got some very interesting things, whether you believe him or not. The guy, I believe, is very sincere. But anyway, he was sitting on some pictures of Bigfoot that he's been talking to for 10 years, and it's on his channel. Remember those pictures I showed you? Do you remember what color Bigfoot's eyes were?
No, I don't, because I watch so much stuff like this. I think I remember who you're talking about. So you're going to have to reveal the secret.
Yeah, so the pictures that he has, they're pretty good pictures of his face. He sat on for 10 years, and some people are saying it's a mask, but he described the whole thing. And actually,
weren't they kind of hazily, like lighter colored, if I remember? They were black. Okay, now I remember, because so many people send me things, Dave, like, and it's about, like, if it's weird and it's strange, people send it to me and I love it.
His eyes are, I'm looking in the feed that I sent.
You want me to post the picture? If you've got a link, if you send it to me, I'll post it on StreamYard here. People can see it.
If I can't try to give it to you. I don't know if he'll mind, though. Well, he did post it on YouTube, so he probably doesn't mind.
Yeah.
a really good picture, and it might be way back here too.
Is it in his community post? Because we could share the link up here. Okay, so there's quite a discussion. So Phoenix, the way you're looking it up.
Oh, maybe his eyes are black. I'm going to resend this to you again.
Okay.
Down.
Yeah, send it to me and I'll post it up here if I can do it. Okay, guys. Do you want to read the?
I sent it to you again.
Okay.
Okay, let me see. His stomach is slit as well. Do you see his eyes?
Okay, I can tell you right now, and I believe you.
The lighting as well.
There are people that are going to look at this and say this is a gorilla. It's not.
No, we are. It's trust me. That's already been gone.
I'm not arguing with you. I'm telling you, when people see this, what they're going to do.
They already did in the original con. It was a gorilla. It was a mask. It was everything.
Hang on, I'm still here.
If you can find the whole picture, he's behind a fence and he's actually got his arm up on the fence and he's going like this.
Or I was even going to say, Dave, where I was going with this, like I said, or I'm going to hear people say, or it's like someone pretending to be like a wolf ape man. I'm just telling you, I believe you. Okay, I believe you. I'm saying I know what people will do. Give me a sec. I'm going to try and open this on Messenger.
For me, it looks exactly like a gorilla. I mean, I think it looks a lot like a gorilla.
I do too.
But the only thing different, see, you can't see it well here, but if you blow up the picture and look at it, nose is actually different from a gorilla, and the brow line is different.
Okay, I'm going to try and share this, guys. Hang on.
Let's see if I can put it on there. And you guys go look this up and make your own thing. I'm not saying it is him, and I'm not saying it's not. But the guy's been sitting on this picture for 10 years now.
Okay, give me a sec. Okay, we got this. Let me come back. I got to add it to the stream. Okay, come on back, window. Okay, give me a sec. Let's share it.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of. Oh, there it is.
It's coming up. Hi, Howie.
It's there. It's hard to see.
Okay, let me see if I can blow it up. You tell me, because I'm going to be on the other page.
Okay.
Okay, let me see if I can. I can't really move it down, but I'm trying to blow it up.
There you go. Oh, perfect. That's perfect right there. Now, when they went through it before, there was a light next to the fence that's shining off his teeth. So that's
Let me take that comment off so they can see the fence too. Hang on.
Yeah. You can't really see it much.
You can kind of see it, though. It's better. Yeah, that's what he's. Oh, I guess you can't, because that's our background. But I see why you say that, Dave. But he's kind of leaning over, like on a fence kind of thing.
Yeah, I was trying to see, and you can see the other pictures where the hair begins, and it's got like hair that it is like if this was his hair, it just starts here in the middle and it goes back.
He looks like he's got a really, really exaggerated what they call a widow's peak, like that point that comes down.
Yeah, and that's his frow, actually. That's his brow. You'd have to look at the other pictures he has, but it's interesting, and I'm glad that somebody has at least got the guts to post something, because people won't do that.
So you might want to mention the channel again, and then I'll read a few comments.
Yeah, it's called Sasquatch Ontario. He's got many, many recordings of Bigfoot speaking in the background.
And I'm in Ontario, and we are in prime country, regardless of where you live in the province, for Bigfoot, believe me.
That's exactly right, what Lorilei is saying. That area where Lorilei is like a hot spot.
Well, you were in Wisconsin, though, too, Dave, because I know Minnesota and Wisconsin have similar type terrain and weather and stuff, depending how north you are in those states, especially. And you guys get a lot of reports too in those areas.
Yeah, isn't the Brandy said
hang on,
you can see the spotlight in its eyes and tell the lighting is coming from the side. The V in the line of his high cheekbones is interesting. It is, isn't it? His nose is interesting too. I looked at a gorilla nose and they're quite similar, but there's something weird about that. I don't know what it is, but if you ever watch the channel, it talks. I mean, you can hear it making the noises, and I almost thought, well, how come nobody else has picked up the same voice? Lo and behold, probably about 2 weeks later, I was watching some other old ones where they had the same, and they're not related. They have the same sounding thing.
Interesting.
But it's interesting to me. I mean, Who knows? I mean, I know that they exist. Even though I've never literally ran into one in the woods, I know they exist just from the energy. I've spoken to them before, and when I've gotten the same stuff other people have, we all get kind of the same things.
Well, I was going to say that there is another person. I've had him on the Angel Rock before. His name's like Dee Macaulay. He's Métis, so First Nations and another nationality. I always had thought he was in Thunder Bay, but he's not. He's in a much smaller community about an hour outside of Thunder Bay called Red Rock. I know Shannon and the Paranormal Poopers will know where Red Rock is if you're from Thunder Bay. He actually shared his story on Paranormal Survivor, and he said nobody knew who I was because they put the wrong city and they spelt my name wrong, so nobody could ever find him. The
Oh,
reason I mention him, he has a YouTube channel called Thunder Striker. So you're going to spell thunder, it's all one word, and striker is S as in Sam, T as in Tom, R as in Richard, Y, then KKER. He has filmed paranormal, investigating many of the old haunted locations around here, UFO, as well as Bigfoot. And he's interviewed quite a few of the First Nations people to get their take from some of the reserves and what have you. Is a really interesting channel. So I would check that out too. And this guy too is in Ontario, like you said, Dave,
yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's Sasquatch, Ontario. Another thing is the American Indians, and in I know in the Americas here, in the American Indians, just about every person that I know, which I don't know a lot, but they know about the Bigfoot. They've always known about
Or
Bigfoot.
little people is a big one. I did not realize this, but
Yeah,
little people is huge.
yeah, they know about the elementals, and I know, and I've talked to other shamans and to shamans, who also know about the little people. They also know about the elementals. I mean, it's part of the craft. I mean,
It's our resident crystal whore, Dave. It's Erica Miras, driving but watching. Much love and gratitude from the Carolinas. Drive safe, Erica. Thank you for listening.
I love little people.
Yeah, because I had heard of these, but the first time I heard of it, you guys know I go on and on about Nuke's Top 5, and Shannon sent me another channel. Shannon, I can't remember the name of it right now. If you can type, feel free to type. It's interesting because he gets videos also sent in. But Nuke's Top 5, and this is from I've never been to this province. It's out west, just before British Columbia, called Alberta. And I believe it was filmed at nighttime at one of the reserves. And you can tell when somebody from a First Nations reserve usually has quite an accent. And you know that they are First Nations. And I don't say that with any disrespect or racism of any kind. It's just very distinctive. And what the film like the video shows, there's a light on and you see something very tiny duck behind. And they go, watch, when we turn the light off, it's going to come back out, and you hear this little steps almost, and then this thing keeps popping out, ducking out, popping out, ducking out. And this was quite a few years ago when I saw this, and I really wanted to find out more. And that's why, if any of you know me personally, you probably heard me say I never thought I would ever discuss with my partner, we call him the Dell here on the network, that with fairies, because like Dell said, part of the elemental family, and depending on the legend and lore that you hear from whatever First Nations tribe it may be, okay, some will tell you, and many especially, that it's not a good thing. Like, you don't want to whistle in the woods, and again, have to treat with great reverence and respect and be very careful and what have you.
Now, I was just reading up, talking about little people. Where I'm from, Wisconsin, you guys, we had a place that the kids would always talk about. It was called Haunchyville. And we also had the witch's house, which was down at the lakefront. But
Oh,
Haunchyville
you told me about that story.
was the mythical village of dwarves in Waukesha County, Wisconsin, which is so funny. I lived literally right next door to that, and I
Mhm.
didn't know it was that close. If it's supposed to be, if people have been there and been back, or they say lucky enough to come back, there's a lot of little small houses everywhere in the woods, and a lot of them are broken down. A lot of them are woods, and then they also had mailboxes that are about as big as dog houses, and they're upside down. All kinds of weird stuff. The lore, I guess, is that they were circus performers who left and kind of went out into the woods to do their thing, and that was the explanation for why they were there. But the houses and all that are still there. Let me see. They said, if you guys want to hear this, I don't know how much I can say without it being, because this is a good story here. Tell me if
give credit maybe about who wrote it, and we don't use any words that'll upset you too. You could read it. Can I just read some very quick comments while you're just getting ready to do that?
Yeah.
So Brandy Reader says, I encountered a little person in a historical jail in the dungeon. The jail was built around atop a mound. Interesting. Nicole Ryan says, very interested. Michelle Pratt, she's over in Australia. She says, I was always fascinated with gnomes as a child. I have a problem with gnomes. I need to go to Gnomes Anonymous. Dave and I have talked about this many times. Shannon shares the name that is similar to Nuke's top 5. It's not the same. It's not my favorite, but I really appreciate Shannon sharing it to me because it kind of holds me over until Nuke's top 5 releases a new video. It's called Bizarre Bub. Bizarre Bub. 2 more comments, Dave. Howie Odell. And we're going to be on Howie's show on the Orion Effect on July the 9th from 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So we'll be sure to let you guys know that. Thank you, Howie. He says, much love from the travelers. Amazing show tonight, as always. And make sure, please, because he really supports our network and he supports the Angel Rockin' as well as this show with Dave and I and many other shows on the network. So he has the Rift Network and the Travelers. I don't know how to quite explain it, but it's kind of a community that's developed, and he calls them the Travelers. And I know there's a story behind it, but check out the Rift Network. Erica Mira says, the Fae helped me to do some of my beat work and manifest the quickest. Love it. Okay, Dave, take it away with your story if you want.
If you use the Fae properly, yeah, I think that they can be a big help. So this is the story of Haunchyville real quickly, and it's kind of gruesome, but hey, that's why it's called The Thing at the Foot of the Bed, my friends. So here's a little something for your nightmare. So
who wrote it, Dave?
Huh?
Do you know who wrote the story, or is it just kind of like an article that's there?
But this is part of the story. I've heard it like this, but this is as close as I could find it to read it of why it is what it is. I don't have to give any author name to it because of the fact it's written by many authors.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? All right. So I already looked into that. But so this is supposed to be in Muskego, Wisconsin, but there's an old albino man who lived in the woods, and he is like the caretaker of all these little people around there. Legend has it that if trespassers are caught, the unruly dwarves will cut their legs from the knees down, so they are forced to live like one of them in Haunchyville. So they make everybody else just like them by cutting off their legs.
Gross.
And they said, according to the legend, after continuous exploitation of a number of circus dwarves, they revolted against their ringleader. After killing their master, they hanged him in a wooded area. After first cutting off his arms and legs. To avoid being arrested or even worse consequences from the community, the dwarves set out for their own community. Now, I'm going to say that part I think is pure bull about a bunch of circus dwarves. You know, that's just a horror movie right there. But I will say there is something in the woods over there because there are small houses and everything, and they are not built to scale of a regular person.
Okay.
And they're old. I mean, these things are like hundreds of years old. So I don't know what lived in them. I thought, and I presented to somebody, and I can't remember how they disproved me, but I said, I wonder if they're old chicken coops or chicken houses from old farms, you know. And,
when you said circus performers, you know what I kept seeing was that maybe it was a bunch of little people, like, you know how they used to do very unethical things, like showcase people that were very unique and different from the rest of neurotypical humanity. We'll say that they looked very different. You know, you'd have the bearded lady. They used words that are no longer acceptable anymore to use. But what if it was like a bunch of little people? Do you think it could have been that, Dave?
Yeah, and it who knows? It very well could be.
I mean, you said they were a traveling circus. The old story went right. Like, I wonder if that's where they were kind of relegated to stay.
Yeah, to get to a point of why there were little people there, they said it was a traveling circus. But see, I find like what you said more plausible, that it wasn't a circus back then, because I don't think circuses really existed. But I do know that entertainment existed, and they did. I don't know if you guys ever saw the movie Freaks, or anything. It's a black and white movie, very old, and it actually contains real people who were in sideshows. And I believe, if anything, like you said, I would more tend to believe or go towards that these were sideshow performers who were abused and they left. And that's dwarfism might not have been around as much back then too, so people would be scared of it. Even like Brandy, who's on here at the asylum where we investigated, there was a woman that was put in the asylum because they said she was crazy, and literally it was just her going through her menstrual cycle. But back then, that was crazy. So they would put these people in these homes that were fine and then wondered why they turned out crazy. Well, yeah, because you're being held against your will for something that's totally natural. So I wonder if why some of these things happen the way they do and they just get out of hand.
I'm going to mention this just so we don't forget. And if you want to read Zach's comment in just a sec, because it supports what you were talking about with freaks. But I wanted to put this, Robin, if you're still here, we haven't forgotten you wanted to talk about spirit boxes. And there's a story I'm hoping, if it's okay, to share about the Rain Man, because I'd love to hear your thoughts, Dave, and everybody else in the chat. It won't take that long, if that's okay. And then I'll put Zach's comment up. Do you want to read that? Because I felt that.
Well, Zach Mann said, I love Freaks. It humanized sideshow entertainers. It did. That was a good thing about that show. They were real people.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, you got to see it, Lorilei. You might like it's
Okay.
it's
Hi,
like
Janie. Mm-hmm.
it's like, what is it, like 1920 or 30? It's like right after talking movie
I'm
show.
surprised I haven't seen it. So is it a documentary?
No, it's an actual movie.
It's a movie. I'm going to write this down so I don't forget.
It's a movie with a plot, and it's kind of a horror, but they used actual sideshow people in the movie. So
Wow.
all the people you see in that movie, there is no makeup, there is no nothing. That is just who they are.
Okay.
I
Well,
never.
isn't there that series? I don't know what it's called, but it's going into, I think it's fourth season. It's had Lady Gaga on there, and it's had a very unusual disabled looking disabled, like physically, people and stuff, and it's kind of like a sideshow type of thing. It's more of the horror genre.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dave. I know he's put it on there. How he said it was on AMC, I do believe, Modern Time.
Yes.
And he's talking about sideshow. He's asking how no, I forget the name of this. If somebody says what it is, I'll have to look it up. Probably Lady Gaga's IMD.
I love
Thank
that.
you, Shannon. American Horror Story. That's it. They feature people on there. Even it's not all makeup. And I don't watch it, but I've listened to what the storyline is about, and it seems to change every season. Like they kind of get a whole new different cast of characters and stuff.
You would think that I would have watched that show, but I have never saw it yet.
Well, we can't mention that. I know you want to, and I'd love to, but we can't mention on YouTube the Phoenix. I'll show it, but we can't mention it, honey. Believe me, that's a whole different show, and it is definitely horror filled. But that's not something we can talk about. Sorry.
Yeah, to me, I don't like when I used to be a big lover of horror movies.
I don't like them. I don't like them.
Yeah, I watched every one of them, but in the last, well, since everything happened to me, I have tried to watch them and I find absolutely zero pleasure in them. And I think it's because it's not because they don't hit close to home, but when I watch a lot of horror movies, the new horror movies that are coming out are all about just slashing, tearing it up. That's all it is.
Okay, so we did talk about horror movies Monday night. My guest canceled, so I just did a show by myself, and I posted the picture. If anybody looked on my Facebook profile, we talked about this. Now, I never wanted to watch Friday the 13th or Halloween, and Dell got me to watch Friday the 13th, and Kevin Bacon was in there. Okay. Now, I don't normally look at these type of things. I don't, because I could care less, right? But Kevin Bacon is in the movie in a Speedo, a blue Speedo bathing suit. I don't know what the heck they put in that man's pants, but it was like a rectangle. Like, I don't know if it was a pack of gum or what, but I literally, because I remember, I think it was even Dell, we were watching it and he's going, what the heck is that in his Speedo? And I'm going, what are you talking about? So we blow it up. We took a screenshot of this and I posted it. So if you want to see it, it's from Monday night. Anybody that has seen this picture has practically been going like rolling on the floor laughing. It's like, why would you put that in there? It was not necessary. And then the reason why I mention it is the whole movie, watching it, it's got jump scares, which I hate, but it's hilarious because it's not scary. Or like you look at Psycho from the 60s, that's not a scary movie. It's psychological thriller a little bit, but nothing compared to what we see today.
Yeah, I didn't find Psycho scary. I didn't find Friday the 13th. I grew up, I watched 1, 2, and then after 3, I'm like, ugh, now it sucks. Then they just ran out of stuff. I don't remember Kevin Bacon being the first one.
I could be wrong. I'm telling you though, it's got to be when they went out to the camp and he was a camp counselor. And it's the first Jason movie, I'm positive, because they went through the story and the mother at the end of it was the creepy person at the end. I'm positive. I could be wrong. Please correct me because I am not a horror movie aficionado, but Dell could not believe I hadn't seen the first one. And actually, I'm going to show you guys the picture. Hang on. Okay. I know how to do this.
I could probably tell you what movie it's from.
Hang on. Okay, look it up if you want on IMDb or something. Kevin Bacon, the Halloween series, and see what movie it is, Dave, and then we'll know. Okay, hang on. I'm going to find me on here, and I'm going to post this picture just like I did with the Bigfoot. You guys are going to see what I'm talking about because why show it later? Let me send it to myself. Here, give me 1 sec.
Kevin Bacon, who got stabbed through the throat.
Okay, so what movie? What number was that?
The very first one.
That's what I thought. It was the first one. Yeah, because Dell couldn't believe I'd never seen it.
When you say it, I remember him. I maybe I'm thinking about 2 when the couple got stabbed.
I've only seen the 1, and he could not believe I had not seen this movie. So we were watching it. I'm trying to find the picture as I'm talking here because I know how to show it. I couldn't figure it out Monday night on my own, and I did. That's how I showed that. Oh, here it is. That's how I showed the Bigfoot picture you sent me. So give me a sec. I'm going to send it to myself on Messenger and we'll do the same thing. You guys will see what I'm talking about. And this was from the first movie. And it's like, why would you do this? And I don't look in that area. That's why I was saying I don't normally look at things like this. But we were going, what the heck is that? Okay, hang on. I'm sending it to okay, just sent me a photo. Hang on, guys. It's coming up in just a sec here.
It was the first one. It was the first one.
Okay, so hang on. We're going to screen share here. Screen share. Yes, we want that. Okay, perfect. Share. Now I got to go to the other one. Okay, now we're going to go over here. Hopefully you guys can see this big enough. I think you'll get the gist. Look what they put in his Speedo.
That's a horror movie right there.
Here, let me see if that's got to be a pack of gum or something. That has to be. Like, why would you put that in there? That was the biggest thing. Hi, Facebook user. We don't know who you are.
Kevin, like a really small piece of bacon. I don't know what happened.
I don't know.
Oh, Lordy B. No, I'm scared now.
Are you scared? Okay, we've got a Facebook user here, honey. We don't know who you are. You can just leave your name, or if you want us to see who you are, if you just head over to StreamYard.com/Facebook, all you have to do is either click yes or allow, and they'll let us see your picture and your name, and we'll know who you are. Okay, so the Facebook user, this is a good comment. Do you want to read it, Dave?
Which one?
Oh, there you go. Okay.
Bacon has been a mainstay in the horror genre since 1980 when he helped to kickstart Friday the 13th franchise. Yes. I don't, you know what? He was in a couple because he was in The Invisible Man and some other stuff.
I knew him from Footloose. That's when I became familiar with him, the first Footloose.
Yeah, you should get rid of that picture.
I will. Hang on. I'm stopping. I want to make sure it's seared into everybody's brain. So Michelle Pratt says there's a YouTube clip about his Speedos. Okay. Oh, I like that. Howie, you know what? It could be. Howie said maybe it's a little truck.
Could be. I think it's a foot of the bed. It's the thing in the bottom of the pouch. It was just like, ugh.
Okay, now we're really getting into this. Zach says Kevin Bacon has a name for his junk, Mr. Snuffleupagus. And Facebook user, you know what? You guys are coming up with good guesses. I said maybe a pack of gum. Facebook user says, is that a harmonica? It's a pretty small harmonica, but I've seen smaller.
Yeah, I don't know where he got Snuffleupagus from. I would say like Pez dispenser. Maybe.
Oh, that's a good one. Or Brandy Reader says a little piece of bacon.
Yeah, that's what I said earlier. Yeah, Tremors was a good. I love the first Tremors. The first Tremors was really good, and then when the Tremors franchise took off, I was like over it.
Oh,
it's no longer.
I did not know this. So Kevin Bacon started on a soap opera your mom watched.
Mhm.
No, I love Supernatural. I'm not a big TV watcher, but I really do like Jensen Ackles, and how I became familiar with him when he was super young, like he was a teenager. He was on Days of Our Lives back in the day when I used to watch that as a teenager myself. So Jane says bacon pick looks like a toilet paper roll at the end of the paper. That's what I originally thought too, Jane. But when you see it, it's like square. So I had to change it because I thought it was a pack of gum. Or like I said, people are coming up with some good comments. And then we got to read Zach's. It's pretty funny. I forgot Reba McEntire was in it.
Oh yeah, Tremors was in Reba McEntire. It was Reba McEntire. Yep, she did a really good job in that movie too.
Yes, Howie, Rick Springfield. Yeah, he was in soap operas, and Erica Ramirez in capital letters. Why? Oh, wait. Shannon's going to have a good joke. You want to read it?
Yeah, it says the thing at the foot of the bed quickly became talking about Kevin B's joke. Well, from that picture, I can tell you that I would not want to see Kevin Bacon's junk at the foot of my bed.
No, not the Speedo, not the truck.
Not the Speedo. I'd be like, Bacon, flip it around.
I don't know. I've never seen a rectangle jalapeno, but you never know, Branch. This is scary. It's a different kind of scary, but it's scary.
Yes. We're no longer going to talk about Kevin Bacon's bits.
His bacon bits.
His bacon bits.
Okay, I did say, Robin, I haven't forgotten if you're still here. I hope you are, if you want to talk about spirit boxes. But what I wanted to, before we went into, if you're okay with it, Dave. Mm-hmm. Oh, God, these guys are still making jokes and I'm laughing. Oh, my God. People are going, oh, my God, great comments. Shannon just said a square peg in a round hole. In round.
Yeah.
Okay, the Rain Man. We're going to move past Kevin.
Okay,
Bacon.
We got to move past this. I just got one more. It's like a button in a bush.
We got all kinds of them.
Let's just stop now. Oh, okay.
The thong at the foot of the bed. Oh my God, I'm crying. You guys are the best. That one, oh my God.
Oh my, Nicole, you win. You win. You bow down to Nicole. That was the best one.
Yes, bow down. You guys are amazing, all of you. But that one wins. I'm sorry, I've got tears from laughing.
The thong at the foot of the bed.
The thong at the foot of the bed. Okay, what were you going to say? Because I was going to share about the Rain Man, but you were going to say something.
Okay. No. Let's talk about the Rain Man, and then let's talk about spirit boxes.
Okay. Everybody's still laughing. Oh my God, you guys are hilarious. That's why we love you. Many reasons, but okay. I seen this recently, and he's kind of creepy in himself. He was a host back in the 80s, and was it called Untold Mysteries, I believe? And it was a series, and he featured strange stories. It wasn't the Twilight Zone. Anyways, I had never heard of this, and I haven't researched it, but I'm imagining if they put it on TV on this type of series, and there were people commenting about it and sharing their perspective. There was a guy apparently, and I guess they were sitting there talking, and he had been a previous felon, I believe, and he was out of jail. And I guess it was a husband and wife, and I don't know if he was a brother-in-law or what he was. Anyways, they were sitting in their home, and I forget what they were talking about, but all of a sudden, the felon, we'll call him, the brother-in-law felon, seems to be like kind of in a trance, and all of a sudden it starts raining. There's water coming down the walls, coming from the floor, like all over the place. So the husband and wife, the husband calls the landlord and says, you got to get down here. And the guy's going like, why? Like, tell me what's going on. He goes, I can't tell you. You need to come see it. The landlord comes to see it. They cannot figure out what's going on. Is there a pipe broken? Like, where's this water coming from? So I guess they decide they're going to leave because it's not like a torrent water or like water up to their necks. It's just dripping down. As they leave, okay, the brother-in-law goes out and the husband and wife stay behind with the landlord. They're going to get to the mystery of where this leak is. The water's gone. The water stops. And then I guess wherever this felon goes, I think he had been charged. He broke his bail, his parole or something. Anyways, he was back in jail. Wherever this guy went, it would start to, it's not like rain, like torrential rain, but water would start flowing. And apparently this is a true story. There's a few people that commented on it that they have heard of this. I'd never heard of this before. And they don't know why or what. He knew he could make it rain like this. He was aware of it. And I think he got taken out of a cell many times because he wanted to make it rain. I know it sounds crazy, but how the heck do you, like, have you heard of that, Dave?
I've never heard of him doing it, but I've heard people throughout years who have changed the weather. I know Sandra, who's on here, loves the weather phenomenons and changing and manipulating things. Indigenous people have been manipulating the weather forever, and I think, well, some people say the government manipulates weather, but honestly, I just don't think they're smart enough. I really.
We're going to get into conspiracy. I'm trying to stay away from politics and conspiracy here, if that's okay. Richard doesn't like when we talk about these, unfortunately.
We're going to go. I want to go back to the
Don Decker is his name. I just found him on unsolved.com. It's everywhere. Sandy, his name is Don Decker. A man materializes streams of water out of thin air and defies gravity. That was the other thing I forgot too. The rain runs in.
I do know who that is. I didn't know that's what they call him. I think I kind of know who that is. Mm-hmm. I could not prove or disprove it because he was around well before all these camera tricks.
Jane, that was true on the Outer Limits, but this is actually on unsolved.com. So, and he could make water go, like, defy gravity too. Like the water would go upwards and in all ways that it wouldn't flow with gravity. Like, this is a crazy story. And I knew there was some truth to it. Like, I didn't know we were going to talk about it tonight, but I looked a little bit into it. And yeah, this has been reported. It's been recorded. They don't know why. They don't know how he does it, or is there a spirit maybe working through it? Sometimes you can have attachments. I don't know, just throwing it out there. I don't know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We can't explain everything.
He wasn't using Oregon energy, Michelle. Really, like, this guy did not live a life like that. I mean, could he manipulate maybe metals around him to do it? I don't know, but it seemed like he would go into a type of trance, if you will, a type of trance. And like I said, it was really strange. Yeah, I know you guys are talking about this. This person's name is Don Decker. I will try and I didn't use the phone. Well, let me turn the volume off on here and I will post this link for you guys in the chat using my YouTube. Was there anything else you wanted to add at all? Or did you want to jump into spirit boxes?
Gosh, this is what I was going to ask. Does anything mention to him about alchemy or being an alchemist?
No, he was none of those things as far as I know. Like, he was not into spirituality or energy practices. Like, this guy was a regular, seemed like everyday person, and was involved in the criminal element of life, from what I can understand. I think his name's Don Decker. I'm going to write in the chat, and I'll put the link beside it for you, whoever Facebook user is that's asking this. It should pop up in just a second.
I do not know. That sounds interesting, though.
Mm-hmm. I'm hoping it's going to show up. I don't see it. Let's see if I start playing this. If it
there
will.
We go.
There it is. Okay, there's the link for you guys. You can click on that and look at it. Like I said, I didn't know we were going to talk about it, But I remember seeing this story, and Jane is absolutely right. It was originally featured, I think, on Unsolved Mysteries.
That's like, oh yeah, because that's like the girl that cried diamonds or whatever, glass. Did you ever see that?
What was that? The girl that what?
She cried glass.
Yeah, I heard about that. Yeah. Or there's been people that have cried tears. I've seen people develop stigmata, like
Yeah.
what Jesus had, but it's not really what Jesus had, because apparently going back through history, and I know this is a bit morbid, but they actually didn't nail his hands. They nailed between the two bones here because it would hold the weight of the body. So I don't know.
And I know a lot of people think they put it through his palms, and they didn't. They put it
Okay,
through.
I got to ask Erica about this. You want to read this? Because I don't quite understand.
Our Nana used to use a Rain Man in the woods behind our house. I don't know what
I
that
don't know what you mean by that, Erica. So are you saying she knew him? Did she channel him? I think he's still alive. Or like, what do you mean by that? And I'm not saying it like, what do you mean? I'm saying like, I'm really curious. So
So
Brandy says, so is
it's
it one specific site, or are they able to manipulate water? No, this, like, wherever he goes, he can control it. And whereas water should not flow up a wall, or they were reporting it going straight across the room, like not with anything, like it was just the water was going straight across instead of like how it would fall down. Like if you look up Unsolved Mysteries, I think originally somebody sent me that off of Facebook, or I found it myself. I might be able to post the link actually now that I think of it in here again. So let me see. And then Brandy's asking, Erica, are you talking about a native person? So I got Freaks the movie here. Yeah, give me a minute, guys. I'll find it. It's in Unsolved Mysteries. I'll have to see. I'll have to look up on Facebook if I can find it. I'll put Unsolved Mysteries. Are you just reading too, Dave?
I was like looking up because I was looking up element manipulation.
Oh, cool. Well, I could see if you were an alchemist. Oh, Erica says yes. I guess she's talking about a native person versus this actual Dawn Decker is what you're answering yes to, right?
Okay. Yeah, is that what you're answering yes to?
Okay, I found it. So guys, hang on. I'm going to post the link for you guys to this. It's on Facebook. Just let me copy it. And then you guys can click on this show and watch it for yourself and then see what you think, okay? Because this was where I originally saw this. I don't know if someone sent it to me or it just came up in my news feed, because sometimes I'm watching stuff while I'm working on resin and my hands are all sticky with gloves, so I can't touch my phone. Thanks, Erica.
I have went down the rabbit hole now that we started looking, because there's a lot on people with talking about energy manipulation, the elemental manipulation, the periodic chart manipulation. All kinds of manipulators are out there. There's a lot of manipulators in this world.
Yeah, but what about Art Bell? Do you remember that story when there had been no rain in Texas?
The name sounds familiar, Art Bell.
Art Bell had a show, Coast to Coast AM, if you've heard about it. It features shows like we do. It's got George Norrie before George Norrie, and why Coast to Coast became so popular is because of Art Bell, who is no longer with us. And there's even some conspiracy about that, because I remember, because somebody that used to be pretty big on Coast to Coast used to be on my previous network. Anyways, I digress. So as the story goes, this many years ago, Texas hadn't seen rain for months. I think there were fires, wells were drying up. It was in a really bad way. And no rain was in the forecast. Like, this was really serious. Like, people were really suffering. Crops were dying. Like, it was not a good thing. So apparently what Art Bell did, and there is a clip, you can find it, he spent, I believe it's 30 to 60 seconds, but he talked to the audience first, and he would have a listening audience live of well over 100,000 to 200,000 people worldwide. And back then there wasn't podcasts and what there is now, right? So he talked them and he wanted them all to focus on rain in Texas. Picture rain falling over this particular area in Texas. I believe he told them to even look up the map where they were focusing in this. No rain was called for. Okay, none at all. The next morning, there was so much rain falling from the skies. People, weathermen, people that didn't know about this type of stuff were beyond baffled. And I do believe they were able to manifest it, because I know when there's hurricanes and storms, there's many people in the light worker community. I know I've participated, I'm sure you have too, Dave, about focusing energy towards the storm, hoping we can turn it away from landfall.
Yeah. I've done that. I know people have used energy balls to try to change things as well. If anybody knows about energy balls, well, maybe we'll talk about that next week, because you can actually produce those in your hand and you can feel them.
I know it's not conspiracy theory, Janie, but we have to be careful with what we say on here. That's why it was said the way it was. I'm trying to stay away from these topics because we've already lost our one main YouTube channel on here. So you know what? Better to be safe than sorry. And I would love to talk about these topics, but we're talking about the thing at the foot of the bed too.
We dance around certain topics, but wink, wink.
Yes. Yes. Wink, wink. Yes. Wink, 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 wink.
Yeah. Anyway,
do you want to read Michelle's comment?
Michelle, reminds me of the power of 8. I have no clue what that is. The power of 8. Love.
I don't either. I don't know what that means. I thought maybe it was me.
The power of 8. Oh, now everybody's doing energy balls. They're talking about energy balls. All right, to the audience who's listening, who's not watching this, let me explain. Can I explain an energy ball real quick?
I might have to duck in here.
Energy balls, for people who are listening, here's the best way to start doing it, but it's basically taking what is that when you push stuff together? You're just gathering up a lot of energy and you're compacting it into this ball. You can actually feel it after a while when you get really good at it. You can take that ball and you can throw it and direct it towards something, direct it towards somebody, direct it towards the sky, direct it towards anything. It is not harmful. It does depend on the energy you're putting into it. If you're putting a lot of negative energy into it, it won't make it to the target. The target can refuse it. Hard to say. But if you want to know at the beginning doing it, just rub your hands together really, really, really hard in the beginning. And your palms will be warm, and then just start compacting until you feel the tingling in your hand. After a while, you won't have to rub your hands together anymore. You can just start thinking that and get that in there. But that's what an energy ball is. You can use it for healing. You can take energy balls and you can put them in your garden. You can put them in your tree. You can put them pretty much any way you want to. Erica says that she's going to throw you an energy ball. First Lori, then David. It's all joyful. I know. I love them. We lost. You must have really chucked that energy ball hard because we lost Lorilei. You knocked her, Erica. You knocked her right out. There she is.
You know what? I'm so sorry. I tried. I was here and then it wouldn't show me. So I had to hop back out. I don't know what my computer's doing because I restarted it. It should not be acting up, but it is. I'm going to jump in here just for a second because I wanted to add what you were talking about with the energy ball, Dave. Just so you guys know, if you ever want to try that, I have a YouTube video on my YouTube channel teaching you how to create an energy ball. I walk you through it. And I walk you through how to feel and sense color and what it means to you and why you would want to do this. There is no right or wrong answer. Sorry, I know you were probably talking about something else, but I don't know. Did we find out what the power of 8 is or the energy of 8?
No, we just went in the energy balls while you were gone and we're talking about, so you're right on track, my dear.
I didn't dip out my stupid computer. Now you know why I have 2 devices and I have a computer and I have everything set up here because you never know. And it's beautiful outside, so there should be no reason. Who knows, maybe some of the things we were hinting at, God knows, it may have decided that it was going to act up.
Do you want to hear something? This is off the topic for a minute, but I had a reading the other day with this woman on the phone. We are both in perfect places. There's no rain or nothing. And every time we started bringing in her people to talk to as a mediumship reading, our phones died. They clicked off. Both our phones took turns clicking off. We finally had to go off our phones and go to Messenger instead.
Wow.
Shannon has a question here.
Okay, hang on. I don't have my glasses on. Okay. One of the poop or poppers. I think she meant paranormal poppers, not poopers. Has a question. Do you want to read it?
Oh, either one. Go ahead. You can answer it to it. All right. We both can.
Oh, she said poopers. It is poopers. Okay, question. You know how we often see someone out in public? You sent me this, Shannon. Before I went live, I couldn't answer it. I just read the first line, so I'm glad you asked here. Question. You know how we often see someone out in public and they are a spitting image of someone who passed away? Do you think it's possibly that person's soul moving between, are you saying dimensions, maybe dimensions?
Yeah, I think she means dimensions.
It could be, but you know what? I don't know about you guys. I cannot tell you how many people have told me they have seen me somewhere where I am not, or that I have a twin, and it doesn't matter whether it's in my city, it could be all the way around the world. I practically hear this every couple days. Now, could it be another version of ourselves? Possibly. Could we be popping in and out of timelines? Could they be manifesting themselves for a certain reason? Yes, because she said this person's past, so it could possibly be that. There's also things called doppelgangers. There's many reasons. So I have lots of reasons, Dave. Dave, what would be your answer?
Okay, so this is my answer from my guides when I've done readings, and this has happened because guides have had me say stuff to people, and they're like, "Wait, how did you know that?" I'm like, "Oh, my guide told me." But when you said, you know how we often see someone out in public, and they are a spitting image of someone who have passed away. A sign that a lot of spirits use on the other side, because apparently it's really not that hard for them,
Yeah.
to get you to notice someone who looks like them, so you think about them for a moment. So kind of like what Lorilei says, I think they dimensionally move you over just to get to that person who resembles them is all they're doing. They're not, we don't take over people's minds or nothing. It's when you're not here, please understand that you can manipulate energy very easily. So, but when you're in the human form, it's different. But a lot of times I find that if you do see somebody who resembles your loved ones, that was your loved one getting you to notice that person. But there also are doppelgangers.
I've had them in my own previous home.
Yep, they're doppelgangers. I am a firm believer in it. I know they exist. So that is, but in that context of what you asked, if it's you're seeing a loved one, you're seeing somebody who resembles your loved one, you know what else they can do? A lot of times they can have people say stuff you needed to hear. So you could have been thinking about let's say your mom in the car on the way to the grocery store. When you get to the grocery store, the lady in the line behind you, you ask her a question and she gives you the same answer that your mother probably would have given you. And they do that on purpose so you can just get that memory. I always tell people when you're listening to spirit or listening to ghosts or listening to everything, you have to listen more than just the air. Listen to other people, because messages get passed from people to people to people to people for you.
Or the other thing too, right? I do agree 100%. Hopefully, I'm not going to lose my train. I had the idea there and then it's popped in and out. But I also believe there could possibly be the opportunity. They may have shown themselves to you knowing that you've seen them, just as confirmation that I'm whole, I'm healthy, I'm on the other side too. I do believe, I agree 100% with everything you said, David. 100%.
I also agree with that. And I have proof on that. I saw a truck that was literally my brother's truck. Everything was perfect. And I kept looking at the license plates and I'm thinking to myself, I don't know what his license plate says. And I called my home. My dad has his truck. And I called to see if my dad was there. Maybe I just saw the truck and my dad was driving it. But no, I saw that. I know that was his truck and it was in the driveway, but I saw it on the road. So I can't explain everything, But
Yeah, but Dave, think about today. What did I tell you? Okay, this is what's been happening to me over the last 24 hours. I kid you not. We are so powerful. And I'm not saying, oh my God, I'm so powerful. What I'm saying is, I believe all of us can do this. Twice in the last, I would almost say 12 hours, I have literally reached out, grabbed my phone. I hear within the mind's eye, oh, I got to go contact so and so. I pick up the phone, go into Messenger. I'm just about to click on their name, and they send me a message. That happened last night. I'm out grocery shopping. I'm going, oh crap, I got to get a hold of Dave. I literally pick up my phone, punch in the code to unlock it, right? I hit Messenger. I'm just about to click on David. And who do I hear from? You.
oh,
Hmm.
and you guys, lately there's a lot of synchronicities happening. In fact, I'm not going to go into great detail, but note another synchronicity that happened, Lorilei, which is odd. When I got hurt at my job last year, a little over a year ago, it was Tuesday night, and Mother's Day was Sunday. By Mother's Day, I went to the hospital and all that stuff. So all of it started at Mother's Day. A year later now, it happened on Wednesday now instead of Tuesday, but it's the same date. Um, I was released from that job right before Father's Day.
Wow.
Father's Day is this Sunday, and I thought that's odd. There's synchronicities happening everywhere.
Can I
And
answer? Oh, go ahead. I'm going to answer this question next. Sorry, Dave. There was a pause. Go ahead.
no, that's all I was going to say. There's synchronicities happening everywhere. Everybody pay attention. Pay attention to those. They are not consequent. I mean, they are not. Synchronicities are not random. They're put there. They're purpose.
I agree because Erica Mira says I'm still finding dimes. Like we've talked about finding signs and things, messages from the other side, and our loved ones do try to communicate with us in the best way without trying to frighten us or feel like we're going crazy or anything like that, right? In the best, gentlest of ways. So I agree with 100% with everything you've answered, Dave, but I do want to read this because I want to add something to this. Shannon says, a patient asked me to ask that because she keeps thinking she sees her mother and sister. She said, thank you for the answer. I have something to add to that, and this is not coming from a fear-based perspective in any way, shape, or form, but, and how do I say this gently, that we all know that one day we're going to transition back home, as I call it. Eventually, we're all going to leave this planet, right? We live forever. I believe that. And where I'm going with this is no, this is not an omen or something like that. That's not what I'm saying. But if anybody, say, has a fear of that happening, whether it's 20 years from now, whenever it could be, right? There could very much be her mom and her sister appearing to her so she knows they're there whenever that time is. And I'm not saying, again, I want to repeat, this is it's not an omen or anything like that. It's just giving her some confirmation that they're happy, they're healthy, they're fine on that side, and giving her a sign, if you will, that yes, we still continue on after the physical life here, and whenever that time may be. And this could happen to any of us, by the way, not just this patient. That can happen to give people peace, to give people confirmation. Maybe they're questioning in their minds, and you don't have to be part of the paranormal poopers. It could be anybody, but I wanted to say that because
That is absolutely correct, because you know what, the other side has been trying to get hold of us or break through for so long. And a lot of people like haunted houses, and we go investigate. Who knows if all the people who do those haunted houses, they really want everybody else to get evidence too. The other side would like nothing more for all of us to realize that this is just a temporary place, and you go someplace you live forever. So I agree with her. Sometimes if you're seeing mother and sister, that could be them.
or
Just
maybe you're afraid and you're wondering, or you're thinking like, okay, this is it, right? Or maybe you're wondering. I'm not telling you what your wonderful person with you there, Shannon, is thinking, but there's people that wonder, is there an afterlife, or they're afraid of it, or they may believe that this is all there is. And I can tell you right now, and I don't like to tell people what to think, but I know David will agree with me. I can guarantee you 100% beyond a shadow of a doubt that we go on forever. We do. We
I
really do. There is
I
no
would say I would say I bet my life on it, but that would make sense. But yes, no matter what you believe, it might not be everything everybody is saying. There might be various differences, but there is no such thing as closing your eyes and never being you
Yes.
again.
Yes.
There's no such thing.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, I can say that. We could both say that with 100%.
Yes. Like I always tell people, I'll never tell you what to think. I'll never tell you whatever. But I will swear it on my children's heads. I will swear it on anything. I
Yeah.
know it beyond a shadow of a doubt. You know what else? Okay, I was watching a paranormal show the other night because I watch all kinds of stuff and I don't watch TV. It's playing in my ear while I'm doing something else. And I was kind of shocked. They went to a notoriously haunted house where I think it was called The Demon House, believe it or not. It was some kind of movie or something. I wasn't watching it. Anyways, the house still stands. They went there. It's the Paranormal Files. And this guy gets really excited. I mean, I'm always happy to see younger people coming into the field, but he screams every time something happens. It's like, really, dude? Really? But the thing is, they were speaking of spirit boxes. Here we kind of transition into the spirit box with a
Yeah.
few minutes. And I hope you're there, Robin, and hanging in there still. But you know what came through the spirit box? And it was the first message. We don't die. We go on forever. And they kept repeating the message over and over in different ways, like letting people know, you do know that. Please let everybody know that. Like, I swear to God to you guys, you can watch this. It came through and they didn't make it up. This was like it wasn't live when he streamed it. But it's not the first time I've heard that come through a spirit box either. How about you, Dave?
No, I've had some cool
Mhm.
stuff come through. There's I was at, I don't know if Brandy's on here, if she remembers this. We were at the infirmary. That's how I know Brandy through.
Mhm.
Brandy is a wonderful investigator.
That's
She
what
is
you
so,
said. Mhm.
yes, she is down to earth. She doesn't, ooh, that's scary. Ooh, it's a demon. Ooh, it's this. And she's like, I need to find out what's going on. And that's what it is. But anyway, we had broken up into groups to, it was a huge place to investigate. And I was walking around by myself. I was one of the mediums who was there. Just I was doing readings and we were doing a talk the next day. I wasn't like there to, like some mediums go, oh, if it wasn't for me, the ghost wouldn't show up. Not that kind of
Oh,
medium.
God.
Yeah, I annoy the hell out of me. Yeah. They're only showing up because I'm here and they're coming through me because I'm summoning.
Got to be
Like, shut up.
joking.
Yeah.
That's ego.
Yeah. That's ego medium. But anyway, I had went upstairs and I walked up to this group. I'm like, they had a little spirit box they were using. And I walked in and I just whispered, I'm like, hi guys, sorry to bother you. And they're like, oh no, it's no big deal. And they didn't know who I was yet. And all of a sudden, the voice box out of loud as can be goes, it's a medium. And everybody looked at me and I was like, yeah, I'm David. I'm the medium here today. But
Yeah.
the spirit box said that. And I've had some really cool spirit box stuff where I have to tell you, I think spirit boxes are the bomb. The only ones I don't care for are the apps on the phone. Not all of them. But here is what I don't like. Oh, Brandy says she remembers that. I'm like, yeah, it's a medium. um, that was
And they didn't show up just because you were there, Dave, right?
no, they didn't. They didn't, but they damn well knew I was a medium.
Yeah.
And they do, you guys. The other side knows if you're a medium or not.
Yeah.
Uh, but where was I going? Oh my god, I forgot. Oh, the
You
apps on the
don't like the
phone.
TV. You don't like the apps on the phone. You said.
Here's why. I had grabbed a couple of the free ones. I haven't tried every one, so I can't say they're all crappy, but I found certain apps this they program the words in the apps a lot of times. So what happens is they program fear-based words. So no matter what happens that comes through it, it's going to be a fear-based word. I like the spirit boxes that are static through the radio, where it's like tuning in the radio, because that is random stuff going through that spirit has to pick to.
I don't mind the ones without the static, the newer ones. And here's why. Because where I feel that it's valid is when you are asking a random question and you get an intelligent, accurate answer, or when they do the Estes method. If they're truly doing the Estes method, and for those that may not know, the Estes method is one person sits in a room with attached to the spirit box. Okay, they've got headphones on, they've got a blindfold on, and the other person sits in a room and just asks some questions of the spirits that are there. Now, the person usually doing the Estes method reports that they have no idea, like, did this make any sense? What was coming through? And the reason why I believe it has validity is when they can't hear each other. Like, you can literally see, like, one person is way over in this room, this person's over here, they're asking the questions quietly. And when the person, and again, they could fake it, but I don't think most of these people are great actors, especially when they're not professional paranormal teams. And they have no idea what the answers meant. But when they go through the footage and they see, yes, this is this and this is that. The other thing I can't stand is when people try and twist the communication to fit with what they were asking instead of just taking it for what it was.
When I listen to EVPs or anything, Brandy, I'm going to comment on this because I got a good comment for that. If I were to present an EVP to somebody, I wouldn't go, here, listen to this. It says my name is Sam. No, just listen to this. What do you hear? I'm all about the control questions, kind of like, with divination, how we ask a control. Yeah, I think we should do that. But I love spirit boxes. I think that they can provide some good stuff. I also think that some people abuse them. Brandy Reader, who, like I
Wait,
said,
before you answer that, Dave, can you put this with a caution out there? And I'm sure you'll agree. Do not copy what you see on paranormal shows. Have somebody that knows how to use a spirit box work with you, because I've seen people cause a lot of problems for themselves playing around with
yeah,
this, playing around communicating with something they probably shouldn't be. Just have somebody show you how to use it
yeah,
properly.
exactly. Don't just, it's kind of like Ouija boards and stuff. I don't see anything evil behind it, but I do see the misuse, and it can cause some problems because, listen, there is energy. Whether you believe it's negative energy or positive energy, when you open up stuff, that's all on you. That's on you. So
Okay, so you want to read Brandy's comment.
okay, so Brandy wrote, she's talking about the spirits. They people watch, and I agree. It's amazing to see who stays silent when the intentions aren't genuine, and those who step forward because they know you want to know their truth. That's absolutely, a lot of times I tell people, if you're trying to do a parlor trick with spirit, a lot of times they're not going to do it. You're
No,
just, but that's why I laugh when I watch the paranormal shows where they walk in and they yell at ghosts.
I hate that.
Why are you yelling at them? Just
And they're not trained monkeys.
Yeah, I know. It's like that's literally going to be you when you leave here. So quit treating who you are like a jerk. But yeah, it's true. They do people watch, and there are some people walk into a house and they're like, I don't get anything, and they're all crabby and whiny and blah blah blah. And then as soon as they leave, it's like stuff flying off the shelf and stuff because they're like they didn't. Hey, listen, ghosts still know if they like or don't like you.
Mm-hmm.
They're not all the way over. Ghosts are between, I like to say, between the worlds. So they're closer to the physical realm. Ghosts still possess human emotion.
Mm-hmm.
It hasn't gone yet. You don't lose these certain emotions until that cord is cut and you're all the way over. So
I'm going to read Brandy's comment because we just got a minute or so left. Christine had mentioned something about Art Bell. Well, I get he could have come through a box. Yes, it may have been Jason Bland with Paranormal Soup Jane. I'm not sure. I can't remember, but I'm going to read Brandy's comment here. I enjoyed the Estes method. The people doing the experiment have to genuinely want to know the truth. And I agree. And you got to have a lot of courage too, because you're already sitting in a house, usually, not always, but usually in a house. Most of the people I've seen, I don't have a team I investigate with here in Thunder Bay, but the ones that I've seen doing it usually go into sort of more known haunted locations. And you're right, they want the truth. They want to know what's going on. They want to find out, but you're blindfolded and you can't hear. You've got noise canceling, headphones, and you can't see a thing. And you're in a notoriously well-known haunted house. So the imagination can do some crazy things too. So I think you got to have a lot of courage and understand how to stay calm and not freak out. Just go with what you're looking for, the truth. What's
Yeah,
your thought, Dave?
people who do those learn how to meditate, learn how
Yeah.
to calm down. Because, like Lorilei said, the one thing that we all have in common, most of us, is that we don't do what we do because we want to be famous and we want people to look up to us. We do what we do, one, because it helps people, and two, we're trying to let people know, go on and live your life, because you don't leave. Your loved ones are still here. Your loved ones are still around. Enjoy. If you have a life on this planet where you love monsters and scary things and spooky things in the night, fine. I'm sure they'll oblige you in that.
You got to run, Dave. We got 2 minutes left because we've got, you guys stay tuned because we got the Outer Realm. Michelle DeRoche and Amelia Pisano. They have Wednesdays and Thursday nights. They always have an amazing show. So we want you to stay tuned for that. So Dave, you want to tell them where they can find you and everything?
Yes, and we will continue next week with more stuff, you guys. You can find me on any social media at Medium David Hanzel, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, etc. My YouTube channel is The Spirit Experience, and my Facebook group is The Spirit Experience. If you want to contact me for a reading or find out more about me, you can go to my website at theywhispertome.com. It is the only place where you can book a reading from me. I never solicit readings or private message you. Go ahead.
And Mystics too. Don't forget to let them know about Mystics too.
Another podcast.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Yes. So anyways, thank you all for being here. We had a great conversation. This was a lot of fun. It always is a lot of fun with all of you. Thank you, Zach, for the great comments and everybody being here. Your input, you guys make the show what it is. Thank you. We're glad to have the paranormal poopers back tonight and everybody that's here. If you are listening on the replay and you want to be part of the live discussion, tune into our YouTube channels, or we've got UFO Paranormal Radio, either on Facebook or YouTube. And you can be part of the discussion. Anyways, you ever want to get a hold of me with a guest suggestion, show idea, or book a reading, healing sessions, I do mentoring. It's on facebook.com/The Angel Rock. I also have 2 groups on Facebook, Paranormal University for all things paranormal, the Angel Rocker Tribe for more spiritual type things. I will be back Monday at 6 o'clock Eastern Standard Time with the Angel Rock. I forgot to check to see who the guest is. It's going to be a good one, though. I know it is. It's from my PR guy, Gavin Lee Davies. Always sends me some of the best guests. So it's going to be a fun show. And David and I will be back next week, right? Thursday again. Same time, same space.
That's right. And you know what's at the foot of my bed? A BLT. Okay.
Ooh. All right. We're going to try and do it together. I'm on my phone. Okay.
Okay.
Want to count us in, or you want me to?
1, 2, 3.
What's at the foot of your
bed? Oh,
we're off again. We're off again. All right, you guys, we love you so much. We'll see you next week. Okay. And don't forget Monday. I'd love to have you join in the conversation as well. Okay. Don't forget to check Dave on TikTok. He does TikTok almost every day, right, Dave?
I do too. Yeah, at least 1 or 2 a day.
Yeah. So check him out. Okay. We love you guys. We'll see you next week. Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
Bye.